Hey, this is Random Doll Account back at it again with another video. So today we are getting a little bit spicy up in here and we are talking about some Integrity Toys hot takes that I have. So, for the record, be nice to me, okay? It's my birthday weekend. It is actually my birthday weekend whenever this is getting released, but I just wanted to go ahead and add like a disclaimer for hot takes and all of that good stuff. So, obviously, if I'm talking about hot takes, um, it's going to be hot, right? It's going to be spicy. If you do not agree with something that I'm saying, obviously, you're allowed to have your opinions. You're allowed to sound off in the comments. I love hearing what you guys have to say. I am someone who is quite dynamic in my kind of mentality. So I do change my minds about things, okay? But what I don't appreciate is whenever people bully other people or whenever people are like purposefully cruel to other people. So with these hot takes, I might be a little bit spicy picante because, like, that's just my personality, but please, like, don't bully people if they have a different opinion than yours. And like, additionally, okay, this is the thing. Some of the things that I'm going to say are in fact that deep. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They are. Some things that I'm going to say are not things that people want to hear. Okay. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. And I'm going to be saying them, and it's not always going to be the prettiest thing to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it anyways because someone needs to say it. So if you do not like something that I'm saying and it is affecting you, please, like, log off this, okay? This is not one of those things where I'm sitting here and like grilling into you because you feel a different way than me, okay? Like, it's perfectly fine for you to just log off. Okay, so this is how this is going to go. I have low level, medium level, and high level takes. For the record, my medium level takes get into medium high level. I don't think that the take is that hot, but I can see some people having really divisive opinions about that. So if you can only hear my low level takes, just take the low level takes and we're good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some kind of photograph or something on here on the bottom so that you guys know whether a take is low, medium, or hot. And we'll go ahead and get started with the low level takes. So we are in, just like a little bit of jalapeno levels. Okay. So low level take one: no one should be buying everything. Okay, so this is something that I learned whenever I started collecting Playline dolls. I was really into LOL OMGs and Rainbow High for a while, and I was buying everything. And what I found is that I did not like everything that I was buying. But whenever I did that with Playline, the bright side of it was, hey, I lost $20, right? And not I lost hundreds of dollars. With Integrity Toys, there's going to be about 50 releases a year, I would say, give or take. And with those 50 releases, most of them are going to be in the $200 range. Please don't buy everything. That's really stressful. Don't do that to yourself. Set limits, please. My limits are I only collect from the big three. So if you're Meteor, if you're East 59th, if you're True, you are not going in my collection. Misaki, no. And I also make sure that, like, anything in my collection has to fit inside my cabinetry. So if it does not fit, it does not go in there. That's why I ended up getting rid of that Vanessa, was because it did not get in there. And I think that is completely fair for you to set your own limits. Don't let this be stressful. Okay, this is supposed to be fun. The moment that it starts getting stressful is the moment that things start to have problems. All right, now for take number two: no Klarna, no credit card debt. In the collecting communities, as we all know, there is a difference between collecting something and hoarding something, and there is a difference between loving it and being addicted to it. Okay. With dolls, it is beautiful. They're beautiful. They're so much fun. They're so fun to be around. But unfortunately, there is a tendency to have a problem with over collecting things and then getting into debt. If you are someone who knows that you have a spending problem, It is good to set limits. It is okay to just say, nope, it has to be inside of my checking account at that moment, or else I'm not buying it. It is okay to say, I'm going to go ahead and just have a bunch of gift cards ready to go, and I'm only going to buy things with those gift cards. That is completely valid. That is completely fair. Once you start getting into the credit card debt and the Klarna debt and the stress and the everything else, it makes things not fun anymore. And then you start going, oh, should I even be doing this? Should I even be collecting this? That's the point where people start selling things off. That's whenever people start getting worried, right? You should never, ever have to feel that way about a hobby, period. It should be saving your mental health. It should be enjoying things, right? It shouldn't be this dark cloud over yourself and your collection. So don't get yourself into those things ever for anything, especially not dolls, right? So no Klarna, no credit card debt. Don't do this to yourself, okay? Like Bergdorf Goodman Poppy, not having it, not the end of the world, you know? All right. And then we've got number 3. Feeling drained? Remove Tappa Talk. All right, I'm going to explain myself on this one. Basically, story time. Whenever I was in grad school, I went to grad school for a year and a half from 2023 into 2024, halfway through. I completely deleted Tappa Talk. I did not touch it. I did not acknowledge it. I did not anything. And I completely deleted eBay. I only bought from the club. I only heard about things that were going on from the W Club newsletters and from the YouTubers. That was it. That was the only time that I was consuming doll content outside of me liking it or not liking it. I saved so much money. I was able to buy things based off of my opinions of them and not necessarily based on what other people thought. And I found that even though I will tell you, I was very unhappy at the time because I was just so stressed. I was working full time. I was going to school full time. I got married during that time. I was sponsoring a bunch of like community things. It was crazy. The one thing that I wasn't stressed about was my collection. And sometimes Tappa Talk can be a place where you find something for a good deal and you want to spend money on it. Or it can be some place where you get addicted to a certain thread, right? And that thread has a lot of negativity. If that negativity is hurting you in any way, shape, or form, remove it. It is okay to not be the most plugged in person in the world. You don't have to know about everything. And if everything is, killing your mental health, get away from it. Like I will be the first one to tell you that. I don't have Twitter because I refuse to drain my mental health like that. I found that whenever I didn't have Twitter, my mental health got 10 times better. So I don't have it anymore. If Tappa Talk is putting you in a place where you're feeling drained, either financially or mentally, remove it from the equation. That is perfectly fine. It's not the end of the world to be not as updated on Integrity Toys news. All right. So that is going to be the end of the low level takes. So now that we're done with the low level hot takes, let's get into the one medium take that I'm going to do. And then we're going to get into a lot of hot takes. And just so you guys know, it's going to get kind of spicy. So the medium level take. W Club being an independent entity is a problem, and it's ultimately going to be a liability. All right, let's talk about it. So, all right, you have to understand I initially came from Playline Land, and Mattel does have subscriptions, right? Where for $10 you can get early access to things. And you know what? I totally understood that, right? Like if you're a part of a club, you get early access to stuff. The W Club being its own independent entity, separate to Integrity Toys, like Integrity Toys has its own value system and has its own reasoning, right? And has its own ethos for being here. If you've met any of the Newsomes before, which I have, they are so sweet and they like to be hands off. They value the independence of their workers, right? And they're a small family owned business. And I love supporting the small family owned business out of Baltimore, right? Unfortunately, the only way to do it is by paying $50 a year to another business who is owned by someone who we'll talk about in a second. Um, And that business can have their own ideals and have their own everything else, and it acts almost as a middleman to get this amazing product from these incredibly sweet people in this Baltimore, Maryland owned black owned business. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think that that's a bit weird. If I am supporting this business, I want to support them directly. And the fact that the W Club is an independent organization that basically ensures that the only way that you can support this amazing business is by going through them, that feels like a problem. And especially whenever that business's ethos can be entirely separate, that just feels like a double problem. And I think that the W Club probably needs to ultimately be a wing of Integrity Toys long term. It just makes sense. It is a smoother operation. And ultimately, it means that everyone is under the same purpose, it's under the same umbrella. And I think that that's just going to make things a lot safer for the company long term. All right, so now for the spicy takes. Now, if you are someone who like you just wanna be chill and you don't want to think about things like really, really intensely, please log off now. Like this, some of the stuff that I'm gonna say is like they're very, very hot takes, and it's like I don't want anyone to feel bad coming out of this video. If you do not want that, just go ahead and log off now. I'm Trust me, I'll see you later. Like forgiven. Bye divas. Okay. So high level takes. Let's go ahead and start with one that is the most related to W Club. That whole thing. Carol Roth being called out is valid. She has said and done some crazy stuff, and it's kind of crazy that nobody's called her out more, to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and say that I had no idea about what Carol was about outside of the W Club until it was brought to attention for me from two TikTok videos. One of them was called "Oh, but Call Me Jim." The other one was from Heyo Juno. They showed me some tweets that I had no idea existed. And once I knew about them, I was like, oh my God. So then I started doing some more looking into on Carol. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. I have Fox News. She is a Fox News contributor. She pretty much contributes every 2 weeks to Fox News. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and read you guys some headlines, and then you can make your decision from here. So, November 25th, 2024, Democrats can't buy anything like Trump's genuine authenticity. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about three of the biggest challenges Trump will face trying to fix Biden's mistakes January 2nd. Okay. Elon Musk can't be the only one to jumpstart our government February 20th. How about March 14th this year? Small businesses barely survived Biden. They cannot wait for tariffs to fix things. Oh, how about March 27th, where she says, in targeting Tesla, the left exposes their climate scam. Ooh, or April 14th, she was just really going at it, apparently, between March and April. The right starts to sound like the left on tariffs. That's not America first. And then there's a subheading. Telling small businesses to not exist in support of the greater good is communist type thinking. Wait, so now leftist is being equated to communism. Okay, great. How about this one? Oh, June 9th. We have to act now to keep AI from becoming a far left Trojan horse. Can you see my point here? Like, even if you disregard the tweets, you can't disregard the Fox News contributions. Nobody has been pointing out what she's been saying on Fox News, and it should be said. What? Honestly, the only way that I can even like justify my brain like supporting this person is knowing that Carol, even though she's the face of the W Club, and that's, I don't know, that feels not okay. I pay $50 a year for my membership, and It pays for an entire team of people, the whole liaisons team. Out of probability, Carol is not making buku bucks on memberships, right? Out of probability, this is just a passion project. It doesn't make any sense for it to not be anything else but that if she's writing columns every 2 weeks for Fox News and doing all of these books, right? So that's honestly the one saving grace. If I were just like a W club, outsider, and then I heard, oh yeah, so in order to get this incredibly progressive company with all of these amazing values, in order to go and get their stuff, you have to go through this, I would be turned off. I would be. I'm not even gonna lie. I would be like, oh my God, that's crazy. I will admit, like, I've decided after I bought the Jean Paul Gaultier Bratz doll, I quit Bratz. And it was because I read an article from Isaac Larian that completely made me rethink my choices regarding that company. So I am not buying any more MGA. And Mattel, because of their layoffs and because of this whole thing with AI, I've also quit Mattel. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna go based off of archives for those. But like, so Integrity Toys is technically the like the most ethical of the options right now, but it's still not okay, and we all need to be calling it out. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say there. All right, so then for my second hot take. Um, There are members that it seems like they complain that they constantly want things, but then they never buy them. What I mean by that is, I've noticed that there's a lot of complaints about wanting additional Poppy Parker screenings. They want fresh new Poppy Parker screenings, but then whenever the Poppy Parker screening comes out, guess what happens? Immediate complaints, right? Or alternatively, it'll be a situation where it's like, people will constantly be like, oh, I want more person of color dolls. I want dolls with darker skin tones. Like, we have a diversity issue. And then the minute that there's like a darker skin doll, constant complaints again. Whenever I was doing the filming for my underrated and undervalued series, which, check out if you want to, I noticed that a vast majority of the dolls that were underrated and undervalued were darker skinned. I don't feel good about that, personally speaking. I don't know. That feels weird to me. That feels to me. I'm not calling out anybody or anything like that, but what I am saying is that it is a little bizarre. Additionally, whenever Jason's dolls came out, and people saw Iconic Moment in Portrait in Black too, as a fat woman, I am saying this. The comments that I saw about how Poppy looked in those dresses were quite insensitive. To be honest with you, it was kind of giving the impression that the worst thing you can be in the world is fat. And I can tell you for a fact it's not the worst thing you can be in the world. And it kind of made me a little bit icky. And I heard a lot of people also commenting some not great things about some dolls of color in the past. I actually am going to leave this up to the BIPOC people in this community that point this out more often. Um, they are really doing the hard work here, and they're really making us uncomfortable, and I really appreciate them for doing that. I'm mixed, but I have a lot of privilege because of my skin tone, and I acknowledge that, and I would never want to let our lovely darker skinned people down because of what they have seen. I'm sorry, I'm starting to tear up. Oh my god. We need to I'm just saying we need to do better on that part. And as for my last point, this has to do with some of the things that I saw about Poppy when the Jason Wu collection, whenever the two gowns dolls came out. Um, this last opinion has a lot to do with that. Um, I don't think that Integrity Toys should put the investment in order to make a bigger body type. Um, and the reason why is because even though I want it, even though I think that that would be wonderful to have a larger body type or a curvier type Integrity Toys doll, I don't think it will be purchased. I know how messed up that sounds. That sounds so messed up. But you have to come at it from my perspective. People are constantly talking about how they don't buy Meteor because Meteor has a bigger body type, or why they won't buy, like, East 59th stuff. If you won't buy Meteor because she has a larger bust, are you going to buy a thicker body type doll? Truly? I'm just being honest about it, right? Integrity Toys is a small family owned business. Body types are the most expensive thing to make in the entirety of the business, right? Like, that is something that you have to put a huge investment into. And if you're Integrity Toys and you want to make a, legit bigger doll with full fidelity, you have to make sure that people will buy it. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that I do not think that enough people will buy it for Integrity Toys to justify it. I'm not trying to be, whatever. I'm big myself. I want a bigger body type, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm going to make this crystal clear. I want them to have a more inclusive body type for bigger people. Of course I do. I've seen enough stuff. I'm concerned about how it would go, honestly. I just don't think that the fan base is ready for that yet. That sounds so messed up. I know. I know that that sounds messed up. I would buy it. I know people who would buy it, right? I don't think it's enough of us. I think that the more popular opinion is, oh, we love Poppy's petite little cutesy body. We love the supermodel, super high end type looking body. Like, oh, we love this like super modelly body. I don't necessarily know if a plus size model's body will be appreciated right now. Oof, that hurt to say. And that is going to go ahead and be the end of today's video. Oh, I got very uncomfortable at the end. I'm so sorry, guys. But of course, these are hot takes. Please go ahead and comment, do all the fun stuff. Tell me how you feel. Like, once again, I am totally cool with changing my opinion, changing my thoughts, having my brain chemistry change. I love that synaptogenesis, like brain changing. I love that type of stuff. I'm sorry if this ended up getting a little bit negative. I am not a negative person and I hate talking about things like that, but I also like hearing your opinions and thoughts. So, if you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe, share, comment, etc., etc., etc. I really appreciate it whenever you guys do comment. Of course, I respond back, as you guys have noticed. So please go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for watching. I know this one's a little bit uncomfortable, but I swear to you that the next one will probably be more sweet, silly, and fun. And as always, you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.